This week's episode of Couch Potatoes Unite! Is sponsored by Found Penny Studio. Found Penny Studio is exclusively fulfilling our Patreon Tier 3 merchandise perk by doing what they do best, creating to celebrate everyday moments like your favorite TV series. Check out Found Penny Studio's creations at foundpennystudio.com and find Couch Potatoes Unite on Patreon at www.patreon.com/couchpotatoesunite.
You say you wanna watch a drama. You say you wanna watch a comedy. Well, you can watch it with your mama, or you can watch it with your daddy. You'll even sit and watch it with your middle schooler, so you can come and talk around a water cooler. We're watching all day and all night. Couch Potatoes Unite. Whoa, whoa. Couch Potatoes Unite. Whoa, whoa. Couch Potatoes Unite.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the podcast entitled Couch Potatoes Unite! Which is based on a blog of the same name because it's clearly the encore incarnation of our infamous yet humble beginnings. Mwahaha. Yeah. My name is Kylie and I love TV. If you feel the same, keep listening and or checking out our website, couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, as you're bound to find some common ground or something you like. For Couch Potatoes Unite, we're all about the wonders and unique long-form storytelling of the small screen. CPU, ! Hopes you've been following releases of brand new episodes of the podcast on Wednesdays, as well as new blog entries on some Tuesdays. And as always, we have several more new episodes on the way. Because the panels and I live lives behind our podcast, the episodes are published once per week. Subscribe to the website or the podcast via iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, via Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, CastBox, Amazon Music, basically wherever you get your podcasts to stay on top of brand new episodes. Episodes already published discuss a variety of shows around the water cooler, including, but not limited to, Stranger Things, iZombie, The Good Place, Game of Thrones, American Horror Story, Grace and Frankie, Mr. Robot, Charmed, and Riverdale. Plus new episodes are in the works, including revisits for Altered Carbon, Doctor Who, Schitt's Creek, Westworld, Fuller House, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Will and Grace, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., The 100, The Crown, Supernatural, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. The This Is Us panel will get caught up on Season 3. The Outlander panel will get caught up on Season 4. The Breaking Better series panel will launch into discussion of the first 2 seasons of Better Call Saul. And the Star Trek 50 Plus series will talk Season 6 of The Next Generation. We'll be launching new panels covering The Orville, Big Little Lies, The Good Doctor, Call the Midwife, The Animaniacs, Killing Eve, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, American Gods, Grey's Anatomy, and Cobra Kai. And because we look back at shows now past, we'll travel through time and experience all sorts of identities with Quantum Leap. We'll thank the Golden Girls for being friends. We'll cry Bazinga for Big Bang Theory. We'll dive deep into the fantasy world of The Magicians. We'll navigate the witty political satire of Parks and Recreation. And we'll become psychos for Psych. By the way, did you know that CPU also from time to time goes live? We've been live from bunkers, comedy shows, Comic-Cons, and game stores. Plus, we're planning more live appearances and other cool stuff, including in these semi-quarantine times. So make sure you like or follow us at our Facebook page, our Twitter at CPU Podcast, our Instagram at Couch Potatoes Unite, or subscribe to the website, our YouTube channel, our Apple iTunes channel, our Stitcher Radio channel, or find us on Google Podcasts, Spotify, CastBox, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. Plus, new for 2021, you can subscribe to us via Patreon. In an effort to get fancier, to upgrade some of our stuff, to build some capacity, Couch Potatoes Unite is on Patreon to provide the opportunity to subscribe for perks, including member-exclusive email and Discord access, bonus content, TV-themed merch, and the ability to join CPU for occasional watch parties, and in so doing, possibly to place priority requests for shows that we cover. If any of this sounds like fun to you, head on over to Patreon or download the app and search for our name, Couch Potatoes Unite. Don't forget the ! In the meantime, if you don't hear your show in this podcast format, fellow panelists and I still write reviews and we always seek new panelists. So if you have any interest in joining the discussion, say hello by finding us at any of the outlets I've mentioned. At the very least, stop by and leave us a thumbs up, comment, or review. We like feedback, but if you try to mess with our fates, oh boy, you betcha, look out. Today, we're around the water cooler and continuing another of CPU's podcast series. This series does not have a fixed number of episodes, like other series we do. Rather, it is ongoing and covers a number of shows that fall under one large umbrella, expanding into a quite popular universe of comic book adaptations. With that said, today's episode is episode 30 of our DCTU series, in which our DCTU expert panel discusses the DC television universe, i.e. television programs adapted from DC comic book properties that have morphed and expanded into one television universe. In this 30th episode of our DCTU podcast series, we talk Season 5 of DC's Legends of Tomorrow, which aired from January 21st, 2020 to June 2nd, 2020, with a total of 14 episodes, plus the series special entry and the crossover event Crisis on Infinite Earths, all on the CW. To remind the listener, DC's Legends of Tomorrow, or simply Legends of Tomorrow, is an American superhero television series developed by Greg Berlanti, Mark Guggenheim, Andrew Kreisberg, and Phil Klemmer, who are also executive producers along with Sarah Schechter and Chris Fedak. Klemmer and Fedak serve as showrunners. The series, based on the characters of DC Comics, is a spin-off featuring characters introduced in Arrow and The Flash, along with new characters, and is set in the Arrowverse along with the other two shows. In Season 5, Astrologue, played by Olivia Swan, whom John Constantine, played by Matt Ryan, previously sent to hell, has resurrected evil individuals from history known as Encores. In addition, Charlie, played by Maisie Richardson Sellers, is revealed to be one of the three Fates, and she is being pursued by her sisters to recover the Loom of Fate. Today, in the 30th episode of our DCTU series, our DCTU panel, namely Kyle, Hillary, Spencer, Kristen, and Nick, returns to focus specifically upon Season 5 of DC's Legends of Tomorrow. Before we get too far into the discussion, as always, I'm going to take a moment to take the panel's temperature, because after all, as we all know, sometimes a show can take turns for the better or worse in our heads, or it can continue its level of awesomeness or lack thereof, depending upon its story evolution. As always, it should be noted that all of our panelists have watched all episodes of Legends to date, and will without doubt discuss sensitive plot points from this and other past seasons of this TV multiverse. So for those of you who are not caught up on DC's Legends of Tomorrow, or really any of the DCTU, at least through January of this year, listen at your own risk, as there may be major spoilers. Welcome back, panel. How are you?
Doing good, thank you.
Doing well.
Great.
Are you ready to discuss the 5th season of Legends of Tomorrow, our final wrap-up for this very long year?
Yes.
Yep, it's time. Let's do it.
All right, well, we're going to do it, and we're going to do it this way. I'm going to go over the standard CPU character question, which changes with each show we do. And of course, I have tweaked the Legends of Tomorrow. I never not tweak the Legends of Tomorrow one, because Legends of Tomorrow's cast changes more than any of the other casts. And even when the actors stay the same, the characters might change. So it's quite a bit different. So this is how it goes for Season 5 of DC's Legends of Tomorrow. Would you say you basically watch it because you like to know everything that's going on throughout time and space to be helpful when called upon to provide trivia or tidbits of such knowledge, and you find yourself getting more and more involved with these characters, almost as if you can't help yourself, like Gideon? Do you think that this show totally rules, like all the best frat parties, for which you are the undisputed master partier? That it definitely has some cool twists on history, your favorite subject, and that the characters are fun? Also, you really enjoy at least one version of the Zari character, possibly for sexy reasons. Either way, you're all about going with the flow and letting things roll off your back, particularly since you're made of steel, like Nathan Haywood, aka Steel. Are you of two minds about this show and you can't decide what your opinion of your watching experience really is in the end? Do you enjoy the show's rough around the edges form of accidental superheroism, or its obviously desperate need for attention more? Too bad one of your minds is trapped in the wind totem, and this question cannot be sufficiently answered, at least not in Season 5, like Zari Tomaz from the pre-crisis timeline and Zari Tomaz from the post-crisis timeline. Do you watch it for practicality's sake? After all, you're the captain now, and you want to make sure this crew of motley, dysfunctional heroes does the right thing and doesn't waste or destroy time, and/or you want the show to be better than it is, like Sarah Lance, aka White Canary. Do you watch it because your best friend used to watch it? You don't actually like it all that much, or so you pretend. Your best friend long since stopped watching it, but despite your better judgment, or possible need to be intoxicated when at all possible, this silly little show might be growing on you, though you'd never admit that openly, like Mick Rourke story, aka Heatwave. Though you were late to start watching the show, you started to warm up to the lovable antics of these crazy characters, but you also feel that the show might change too much, even for you. So much so that you're contemplating getting out while the getting's good, like Charlie, aka Clotho. Do you begrudgingly watch this show? Truth to power, it's not really your bag, love, as you're more about saving souls and slaying demons magically, but perhaps there are a few things you can tolerate from time to time, so long as things stay exciting, like John Constantine. Do you watch it because you feel like you have to? You have a duty to watch all of these Arrowverse shows, possibly because your significant other watches them, and or because she convinces you to be the captain of your relationship from time to time, but ultimately because you feel the timeline should be protected at all costs, like Ava Sharp. Do you still think the legends are so neat, but you have decided that you have more interest in reading, watching other TV when there is no better alternative because of societal dystopia, and or writing under the Rebecca Silver pseudonym, and so you stopped watching week to week, which at least for the fans was probably a decision for the best, like Mona Wu. Did you watch it because though you thought it was legend, wait for it, dairy, and or because you wanted to be a legend just like these future legends, you decided that you might have been outgrowing the show or outshrinking it and the rest of the Arrowverse, particularly with the flagship show ending this season, and so you decided to jump the shark and leave when the Ray character was on as much of a high note as you could expect or hope for, like Ray Palmer, aka the Atom. You don't really like the show much at all. It reminds you of confusing times with your father, even if the Ray character kind of grows on you. When he left, the choice to stop watching was easy. So you did, like Nora Dark. Or you hate the show. You only tolerate it because you have a complicated affinity for John Constantine. If he leaves, you'll most likely be out. You wish you could be out of this hell, in fact, like Astrologue. Who would like to start?
All right, I'll go first for this week. This is Spencer.
Hi, Spencer.
Hey, everybody. And I'm doing... Last time I think I was just Ray Palmer.
Yes.
This time I am Gideon, Nate, Zari, and Sarah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're even getting looks from Kristen.
You know, I didn't come into this doing it, but as I'm reading them, there's just bits of all of them that make a lot of sense.
Bro.
There you go.
That's worse than me. I never pick that many.
And me.
Well, what can I say? It's just one of those weeks.
Welcome back.
But we had, okay, like, they can't see this, but me and Kristen had legit bug eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, they do. Welcome back, Spencer.
I usually don't do more than one or two, so...
I know. We'll have to delve into the complexity of that answer momentarily, especially since the Zari one contains two Zaris that are both very different. So
really, that's 5 instead of 4.
Yes. Agreed.
Wait, what did you say? You said Gideon?
The
Both
Gideon,
Zaris.
Zari, Nate, and Sarah.
The first 4, which Zari has 2.
Okay, I want to go next because... Hi, I'm Hillary.
Hi, Hillary.
I want to go next because I actually kind of want to copy him a little bit.
Now look what you've done.
Well, okay, first off, I'll do the disclaimer thing.
Okay.
So, Kyle's going to talk in a second. He's my husband, and you're moderating this, and I'm sort of related to you, too.
Wow, only sort of? That's like half a disclaimer.
Yeah, we're related. But yeah, so I like his... I agree with that, though, that there's kind of parts of all of those descriptions that kind of fit at this juncture. It's kind of hard to... I mean, I usually pick 2 or 3 a lot of times anyways, but I actually reread the character descriptions multiple times anyway, just trying to decide. So if Spencer's not going to decide, well, then I'm not going to either. So there's parts of each one. Like, I do like to know everything that's going on still with the show. I do feel like I am of 2 minds about it for both of the Zari reasons. I do feel like I watch it just because it's practical for me to do it at this point. What was the other one?
Nate.
Oh, yeah, sure. Every time the Nate one comes up, all I can focus on is the sexy reasons part. So
I was definitely not focusing on.
No. Yeah, there's parts of it though. I like the cool twists still that they like to do on the episodes. I think that's one of the high points. So I think that's why Nate. That's pretty much it. I'm copying Spencer.
Last time you were Ray and Nate, so yes.
And I still love Ray, but you changed his, so...
Because of the reasons which we will discuss.
Fine.
Okay. Welcome back, Hillary.
I'm Kyle, her husband, as she said.
Hi, Kyle, her husband, as she said.
Last time I was Ray, and with this one I would say I'm Nate, mostly because the show is still fun, and I like the twists they put on every episode. I feel like it's the most creative out of the Arrowverse, so I do like the show. It is the top of the Arrowverse for me, so I think I fit firmly in the Nate category.
And for
king
sexy
of the
season.
Oh, I'll give that for Hillary. I was going to say, and you're also king of the frat parties?
They can't see you shake your head. Yes, Kyle is the biggest partier of all the partiers.
That's what's funny. Welcome back, Kyle.
I'll go next.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Kristen.
Hi, Kristen.
So last time I was Nate because he's really cute.
That's exactly what you said.
And this time I'm still Nate because he's still really cute, and I just enjoy his character. The show is fun. It's easy to watch. It's definitely more surface over substance, which I kind of like with this particular DC show, because some of the other ones were really heavy, so this was like a nice breath of fresh air. But I'm also going to add the 2 Zaris here too. I still really like it, but I definitely see this as kind of the beginning of the end. For some reasons, I'm kind of nervous to see what next season's going to bring based on some changes at the end of this one. So, yeah, there we go. I'm only choosing 2.
Or 2.5 with the third.
Technically 2.5.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But you have beat 2 of the other Mabel on the panel with your number for the first time, maybe. I don't know. So welcome back, Kristen.
Thanks.
Okay, I am Nick.
Hi, Nick.
I will pick Nate and Zari. This is a really fun show. I do enjoy it, but I am at times of 2 minds. There are moments that I still want to understand where they're going, and sometimes they know what they're doing, and sometimes it's just whatever's fun. But I am enjoying the show. I think I agree with Kyle that this is my favorite to watch of the Arrowverse right now. But there are still some moments I'm like, what? Why is that character doing that? Oh, it doesn't matter. Let's just watch.
Last time you were also Ray. Yeah.
That's true.
All right. Welcome back, Nick.
Thanks.
And of course, my name is Kylie. I both participate in and moderate this particular wonderful panel of craziness. Last time I was Ray. This time I'm not Ray. I am Nate plus the 2 Zaris. I actually wrote the 2 Zaris partially with myself in mind. That one was kind of fun to write this time just because the Zari twist was so unexpected. And so I was like, how can I fit that into the character question? And I've been thinking about it for a while. But I'm also Nate to the extent that I do like the cool twists on history, and I am about going with the flow and letting the things roll off my back. But at the same time, I agree with some of Kristen's comments, and I agree with some of Nick's comments about this. I do think we're starting on a very... all the other shows we've been commenting about how they're not sustaining their goodness over the course of the later seasons, and now Legends is on that precipice, and a lot of people are leaving or have left, which we're going to talk about, and so that makes me a little bit concerned, and we will explore that issue today as we talk about Season 5. So in Season 5 of Legends of Tomorrow, the major theme was these encores. So Astra's basically causing trouble from hell because she's causing trouble from hell. And then she realizes that Constantine is still around, so she wants to cause trouble for him. And then she gets out of hell, and then it's the Fates causing trouble because we find out that Charlie is in fact Clotho, one of the 3 Fates, which is like a thing in mythology and stuff. That was kind of cool. But what did you think of Season 5? What did you like? What didn't you like? Let's talk about the latest Legends of Tomorrow season.
John Constantine was the highlight.
Always.
Yeah, I would say Constantine's the highlight. I wasn't a big fan of Mona and Ava. I don't really feel like they add a lot to the show. As side characters cropping up for a couple minutes last season, they were fine in small doses, but not a big fan of them in the main cast.
Yeah, I'm so glad she's gone. She's much better. I think she's a pretty prominent side character on a show on Netflix called Never Have I Ever.
That's what Hillary said when we were watching it.
And
She's not annoying on this other show.
Yeah.
I love Never Have I Ever. Yay, Mindy Kaling, do another season. But
I don't know why Mona sucks so hard over here, because the actress is great on another show.
yeah, I mean, it's her character, but I fully agree with what Kyle said. She doesn't really add anything. She's supposed to be some sort of, side comic relief, but it doesn't come off that way for us. So.
And if I never ever have to see Gary again, as long as I live, I will be happy.
Oh, poor Gary. Nobody likes Gary.
Gary
So
is...
damned annoying. It's like so completely juvenile.
Gary was funny at first, but he's like the running joke that's gone on way too long. And good news, everybody, he's part of the regular cast next season.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that kind of goes along with we're running out of ideas and we got to replace people.
Well, and it's so stupid because they're replacing Ray and Nora, and they didn't even want to leave, and they're highlights on the show.
Are we ready for these feelings? Because I have feelings.
Yeah, I like the guys on the show the best.
When I heard that Brandon Routh was leaving, that was an annoying bit of news. And I was actually relieved to see him pop up on another show I watched just to get a little Brandon Routh fix over the last few weeks.
He's really good, and Brandon, he was being vastly underutilized, and so was the character of Nora.
Mm-hmm.
It did them a really bad disservice, so I'm disappointed to see them leave, but at the same time, I really hope that they go on to bigger and better things outside of the show.
It would be one thing if they'd wanted to leave. I think we talked about this in some of our other DCT recaps this year. I think if they had chosen to leave, I would be like, yes, that's the right call. Ray Palmer is being underutilized. They're not using the Atom. I don't understand how he fits in anymore, apart from his relationship with Nate, which is one of the funniest aspects of this superhero sitcom. It's like your standard bromance kind of business, and that's fun.
And that relationship helped build the Captain Cold Rory relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've tried to replace it with is it Barat? Barat, and try to replace Ray Palmer with that, and it doesn't work. It seems forced. It's an unnatural relationship, whereas the other one really did seem like a bromance thing.
And to that end, I feel like, so this is where my deep-seated feelings on this season lie. I liked the first half. I thought there was some really good glimmers of hope, but then when we got into the second half, when we moved away from the concept totally of the encores and we're starting to chase the fates, even though I liked the fates and some of the story concepts, especially in the season finale around the fates, having no Ray around and that lack of comic relief was noticeable. I missed him a lot, to the point that I got bored by the second to last episode of the season, because there just wasn't the same amount of comedy. I mean, Constantine is really good for some snarky bits, but he also plays very serious. Sarah and Ava's thing is not funny, ever. I mean, I want to like them, but they're not, they lose the comedy. And Berat is pretty fun in terms of if they could make him work, and Zari work, and Nate work, and that whole thing work, but they hadn't really stitched those pieces together by the end of the season, and so it just felt, forced.
I think part of the problem is the last episode felt very, very rushed, and I'm sure that was COVID related, trying to just give us a cliffhanger ending, 8 episodes short or 6 episodes short or whatever it was. Just 2. Mm-hmm. So I think that last episode it's funny, the last episode felt long and it felt rushed at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I felt the same way.
But the penultimate episode, I really enjoyed the Stuck in TV World episode.
Yes, that one was great.
That was one of my favorites of the season.
That one, and the one, another favorite of mine is the one where they have to go to the supernatural set to find the stuff. Nobody else probably liked it. I loved it.
I mean, it's all fun. That's why I still like this show the best out of all. Like, in terms of Legends of Tomorrow, this season is probably my second least favorite with the first one, mostly because all those side characters. But the individual plots and individual episodes are still so much more fun and creative than anything else the Arrowverse is doing. So I would still watch this season over anything else. And they have some great concepts that they have fun with. I just wish they could lock down a good character mix that worked.
Yeah, that's really the detriment in the show right now, is we don't get any character continuity.
Yeah, one of my biggest thing is, and I'm sure it's like that for a lot of people, but yeah, I need to get invested in characters. That's very important. That's like the leading thing for me. So if that doesn't happen, even if it's fun, I still start to lose interest. I'm not feeling the same connection anymore. So it's getting hard. I still enjoy it, and I think that there are moments that are still fun and all that, but it's getting harder. And again, I've mentioned this on the other DC podcast, but there's just now, once upon a time there was not so much comic book content out there in the on-screen world, and now there is. It's become very mainstream. So, I mean, I was on board from the beginning, but when there's so many other options out there, it's like, I still enjoy it. But that's where the of two minds thing kind of comes in for me.
I'm starting to feel like some of the performances feel like people just working for a paycheck rather than enjoying what they're doing.
Which is
Katie, especially, Sarah Lance, feels to me like she is just there getting her paycheck, and if something else was to come along, she'd be the next one off the series in a heartbeat.
I mean, I agree. I wasn't even thinking about it when I was watching it, but yeah, she doesn't really exactly feel like the same character this season.
Right.
She was a little wooden this season. There wasn't a lot of depth to what she was doing.
Although I will say her James T. Kirk impression was funny.
Yes. The whole Star Trek spoof was pretty hilarious, I have to say.
I'm sure Nick thoroughly enjoyed it.
I did.
Also Kyle and also Kylie, if we're taking Trekker counts. Just saying.
I loved the kind of veiled joke of, well, we always win.
I did too.
I also like that Rory comes in as the villain in it, and it kind of took me back to season 1 when he's like, it seemed
when
like
you didn't know what he would do.
Yeah.
That's what
and he was Khan.
And he was Khan, yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Kyle brought it up in our chat. It's been publicized that he is going to be leaving the show, either in the coming season or at the end of it, which means the only original cast member left is Katie Lotz.
And it seemed like they were seeding that she might leave because she was looking into it and she was going out on her own mission. And I don't know what's going. Like Mad Dog was offering her a job. I don't know.
Wild Dog.
Wild Dog.
Mad Dog Tannen.
I mean,
Sorry.
I'd rather go work with Tom Wilson and do some stand-up.
Oh, bless it.
But then the crazy thing is, this is the show that got renewed for 2 more seasons.
So that's what I'm saying. There just comes a point where as a network, you have to, count your losses. Other networks know, okay, if, these main characters, these original characters and actors are leaving, it's probably not going to work out.
So, I mean, interestingly to me at this point, this was the show I was enjoying the most. The best show of the whole DCTU currently, and I know some of you probably haven't even watched it yet, but the new Superman and Lois is the best of these shows right now. Because it's fresh, it's new, the characters and the actors are all really invested in what they're doing again. It really does feel like they need a complete refresh in this universe, and that one's taking it a little bit in that direction for me.
I haven't watched it yet, but just the clips I've seen, the tone and the characters, it just seems like so much more of a love letter to comic book fans, and the character, they were really trying to do the character justice, so I'm really looking forward to that show.
You really can't mess with Superman.
Yeah, you screw up Superman, there's going to be riots.
I mean, there's I would say there's 4 major comic book characters that if you just mess with that, people are going to have a cow, so.
I mean, look at what happened, the whole Justice League thing. And now there's
I'm hearing good things about the Snyder Cut.
Well, that's because the mustache thing is gone.
Well, that was a big problem.
I don't know, I've been following that a little, but the reviews about Superman and Lois have largely been good.
I mean, I'm wearing my Superman T-shirt right now, actually. But as a big Superman fan, I was worried about that show, and I very much enjoyed it, watching them live, even from the beginning here.
It still begs the question if this universe will last on CW with that one show.
Some of the others are going to have to drop away.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I think they're going to squeeze the turnip, but I really don't see this lasting that much longer. Even with all the proposed pilots, I don't think they're going to see the light of day, because I think there is fatigue with that network's stuff, especially because Warner's trying to direct to HBO Max, and people seem to be enjoying that DC corner, and then simultaneously you've got a much more broadly marketed, much more widely acclaimed, widely accepted universe in the MCU, which is now on Disney Plus doing its thing. They're dominating the water cooler right now. The actual TV water cooler over any other show's water cooler, not just the superheroes.
They started strong. Marvel started strong, obviously, with movies, but then the Netflix shows were so good, and now Disney Plus isn't messing around.
Yeah, the Disney Plus shows are even better than the Netflix ones.
And the interesting thing is, like, once we see Loki, which is pretty much their version of Legends of Tomorrow, time travel, capers, messing around with history, it'll be really interesting to compare them to now.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to get Disney Plus, but I will be getting it in the near future just because of the Marvel shows.
Come to the dark side.
And the Muppet Show. Just
all worth it.
It is worth it.
I really can't see Legends of Tomorrow lasting beyond this 2-season renewal. I think that it got 2 seasons because I believe the showrunners have an end game in mind, and this is giving them enough time to play with it to bring that vision to fruition and close it out nice.
Well, and it's a lot cheaper show for them to make than the rest of the shows, so they really don't have anything they're not really risking a lot for the audience that they're drawing in. People still enjoy it, and it doesn't cost them anything, so they'll try to squeeze it for every drop it's worth.
I do still feel like, though, it doesn't target as broad of an audience. I think that, like, you know, the Disney Plus MCU spillover it really does a good job of, you know, drawing all different age groups in. I think still Legends sometimes is so campy, and some of the other DC shows, I still feel like they're almost downplaying it for, like, a younger audience. I still get that vibe. Like, I'm watching it.
That's what CW is trying to really go for, that very specific late high school, early college.
Yeah, and I get that. That's kind of a little bit part of their shtick, but, like, you're not going to get really that far with that.
Well, especially because they're watering it down to that level instead of that age group appreciates things that are done well.
That's the thing. I know there's always going to be people, well, you know, younger people, blah, 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 but that mindset I'm not a fan of, and you can still do things, you can still talk to that. You can make things more relatable. They're not stupid, so you don't have to dumb anything down, and you can create content that is enjoyable for all ages to enjoy, and there's so much material to draw from. Again, even the characters that they have on there right now, there's not a lot of depth going on, and I know that's part of also why we like it, but again, it's getting too far away from, there's not a balance.
The character, I think, with the most depth, I guess you can argue for Zari, the new Zari's turn, as she kind of evolved throughout the season, but Rory, with his relationship with his daughter, probably the most depth you're getting.
The character I've actually enjoyed quite a lot this season until she kind of became a fate was Charlie. She seems to really be enjoying what she's doing as an actress, and it comes through when you're watching. She really seems to be into it, and it makes it more engaging.
I liked Charlie a lot this season. I also liked the storyline with Mick finding his daughter, just because it gave him a new comedic avenue to explore. But I kind of really enjoyed the Zari turn, just because the old Zari isn't gone, and I'm intrigued. This is probably the one part of the story that I'm really intrigued to see what they do with, in the future because you've got not only vastly different personalities, you've got the wrapping up of Berat's fate and whether or not he should really be existing with those two Zaris out there. But then you have this weird love square. It's a very weird love square with old Zari and Nate and new Zari and Constantine, which makes some sense, I guess, from his angle maybe, but less from hers. So at least what we understand to be the Instagram vapid perfume maker, but still, there's just a lot rolled up into that makes that interesting. But the rest of the stuff, like, I do not care about Sarah and Ava anymore.
Nope. Not even slightly.
Nope. Either commit or figure out your life.
Well, because they don't know where else to go with it. They're just dragging it on.
Pretty much.
Because it was a forced relationship again, which has been a problem throughout the CW universe.
And I don't really care for Astra. I thought there was going to be more to that because that's, like, part of his thing, and maybe there will be, but right now it's just...
It went really flat with her.
It
started out with a lot of promise, and I don't know whether that's COVID-related in the truncated season, but it did. It really went kind of to a one-note boredom at the end of it.
Yes.
But I never really considered her a great villain. I didn't mind the switch to the Fates. See, my big worry, though, is with Warner Brothers and how finicky they are, they just greenlit a new Constantine show with a different actor. So what was scary is that they'll go back on their old ways of saying, oh, we're using him elsewhere, you can't use him on this show.
Probably.
If they do that, I don't know. I might be done. Because Legends...
And Matt Ryan is...
our first cancellation before the show runs its course.
Like, Matt Ryan is, like, the perfect John Constantine. Like, he is literally spot on Constantine from the comic books, so...
Agreed. And also, like, one of the top 3 redeeming features of this show, if not the top redeeming feature. And without Ray and Nate's thing, he's going to be, and if Mick leaves, he's going to be the main source of comedy because we've already agreed that Gary isn't that funny. So... And who else is funny? Nobody else is funny. So you can't think of anybody. I guess Zari's post-crisis Zari is a little funny, but even she gets not funny after a while.
Right.
Yeah, if they continue in this way, it isn't just a loss of the original characters. We're even straying from, like, these side comic book characters to, like, is Ava from the comics?
No.
Is Gary? Like, what's going on here?
No, there's just...
Mona, like, almost nobody is from the comics anymore.
Yeah.
That sums it up pretty well.
Yeah.
Zari from the comics, but they changed her name.
Yeah, in the comics, she's the Mighty Isis. She was one of DC's first female superheroes.
Still not, like...
That's a good name change.
She's not a direct
It's Isis, like in the Egyptian deity, not Isis as in the thing you're trying to refer to.
I mean, she had a show in the 70s before Wonder Woman. Like, she was a big DC character that everyone just kind of forgot about.
Yeah.
Which I think that type of comic book character makes sense for this show. And then they can do whatever they want with it, too. But Gary, I don't know how much I buy Gary being a sorcerer. I
don't buy Gary being anything other than an annoyance.
Gary brought a bunny a hellhound in the form of a bunny, which he called Gary Jr. Come on. Think of better names.
That writing is so top tier. Oh my god.
Speaking of which, like I said, I enjoyed most of the season, but the episode I enjoyed the least is the episode supposedly marketed towards me, the horror movie homage episode.
Freddie Myers.
The writing in that was so bad. It is what somebody who doesn't watch horror movies thinks horror movies are. And, like, they think they're being clever. Like, literally, Freddie Myers, like, is the...
we were, like, watching, I was like, oh, Kyle's gonna get pissed.
Well, it's just, like, there's so many other clever... Like, there's a movie called Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, that essentially does the whole deconstruction of horror movies in a brilliant, funny way. But, yeah, that episode just annoyed me.
Hey,
But that
Writer
twist
people,
that it was
stop
the
offending
mom.
other genre fans. Jeez.
But the twist that it was a mom was original, right?
No.
No.
I'm just kidding.
I knew he was going to do it. No. Triggered.
I really did wonder what you thought about that episode, Kyle.
Looks like it's the only horror movie they actually watched was Carrie.
I was
and
gonna
then they
say,
try to
I
throw in all these other references.
I didn't
But
even
they're
notice
just, like,
the other references.
surface
I just thought it was
level.
Carrie.
Well, he was in coveralls and a bleach white mask, or she, I guess, at that point. Definitely made to look like Michael Myers. But yeah, it was all over the place.
Yeah, I think my thing is that even though it's still fun, there's just almost, it's starting to borderline on the cheese level.
Yes.
Like it's because like I've always enjoyed, well, for the most part I've enjoyed the campiness, but now it's definitely teetering on the line, and that's what makes me become disinterested.
Like there aren't stakes because it's kind of like wacky, like a cartoon.
Yes, so that's what makes it also feel like they're just not even trying, and then they just think that they're doing it for a younger audience anyway, and they think they need to dumb it down for the younger audience.
It's lost the charm and the individuality that it really displayed for a couple of seasons there. It's almost like it's returning back to the disjointed first season that didn't know what it wanted to be.
Well, that's because this season was disjointed. Because, like I said, the first half was all about the encores, and that's where you got sort of the random history people and how they were playing around with that. You know, I enjoyed seeing how they spun Rasputin, and there was that time when Zari was Cleopatra, and Constantine was playing Jack the Ripper to try to talk to some of the encores. That was fun. That's where they got their little shenanigans going. But I liked that they chose those characters and put them together.
That episode felt a little bit like Clue.
It did. Well, maybe that's why I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So, and maybe there was a little homage to that there. You know, those episodes were good. The twist that Charlie was a fate and there was a loom of fate and they had to kind of deal with the fates was good. But once they got really bogged down into the fate storyline, that's when it started to feel like they didn't know exactly what to do with what they had, or didn't give themselves enough space. And I'm not even just talking about the last episode. I'm kind of talking about that overall second half.
Pacing.
Yeah, it felt like they tried to introduce like the 1984 feel, and that didn't really work.
It could have worked if they spread that piece out, because I actually enjoyed that was the same as the TV shows, all the different TV shows, was when they were in the whichever fate was making them, Charlie was trying to protect them in the TV shows, and
right.
Outside it was basically the Hunger Games or something.
The Mr. Rogers character was hilarious.
Yes, the Mr. Rogers character. I also enjoyed the hammy sitcom Best Buds thing that they had going.
Oh, that was like a Friends meet.
Full House.
Something else.
I had a Full House vibe, or Perfect Strangers, or something like that.
The set was very much Friends.
Yeah.
Like Monica's apartment.
That kind of stuff was fun, but...
And that's what Legends has always done very well, is make those kinds of references and not take yourself too seriously. That episode for me was one of those that I really appreciated.
The Shakespeare episode was hilarious because he tried to turn Romeo and Juliet into a superhero play.
And the title even, just making fun of the, Batman vs. Superman, intense Snyder, dark DC universe was funny.
It was very self-referential and meta. And then to bring it back around and back into, we're going to perform Romeo and Juliet, having the Legends actually do that was also very fun. So there are definitely moments, but then when for some reason this season, maybe it was COVID, maybe it's just because they don't have their hands around things as well anymore. The larger arc just got really muddled and kind of too drawn out, which is weird because it's the shortest of, other than Black Lightning, it's the shortest season of all these CW-verse shows. Everybody agrees because they're...
Yeah, I mean, we've already talked about how the other shows are just kind of long. I mean, it doesn't help anything at this point. especially with the way TV and streaming is, so, and COVID.
Is there anything else that you liked, disliked that we haven't mentioned before I start going the other direction toward, the questions that I normally ask at the ends of these things?
I will say that, talking about this now, I'm starting to have, flashbacks to other seasons and kind of realizing how kind of not creative this one was. Literally, the loom split up. They did that with the Spear of Destiny, split up through history. And then, a main character finding out they have a daughter and trying to be a good dad, and then that being the reason they leave the ship with Professor Stein.
Oh, you mean it's repeating itself?
So, that's kind of making me bummed, because when I was watching it, I was still, enjoying it.
The encores are really just another version of, what were those things they were finding last season?
Was it the
anomalies, or...
Yeah, those. Yep.
Yeah, it's just it's regurgitated.
Yeah, it's a little repetitive.
Anyways, yay! Legends!
How did everyone feel about the thong song? And was it?
That actually made me laugh out loud.
Was that really Cisco?
Yes.
Yes.
They got him, I think, for 1 day to come in and shoot that scene.
I'm like,
well, honestly, what else is he doing?
We did not rehearse that.
I absolutely adored how Steele was completely into that and thought it was his cultural brilliance. It was really funny.
That part was funny. All I could think of was, damn, if that's Cisco, he look old, and that means I'm old. Damn it. But no, that was real. Again, there were moments. I love the fact, even though the beer pong piece of the frat party episode was kind of dumb, I loved the fact that Dionysus was the one who was the partier that was trying to make the parties continue, and that actor actually is also on Riverdale, so that was a thing, but Synergy, all in the branding. So, I mean, there were actually moments, and it is fun. It can be fun. I just don't think it was as fun as seasons 3 and 4. I think those were the two best seasons.
Mm-hmm. It was a definite step backwards this season that had its moments, but could have been a lot better. I mean, honestly, they had a decent concept with the, what do you call them, the repeats or whatever they're called?
Encores.
The encores. I thought that was a good concept. I was hoping for something a little bit better than we got.
Yes, agreed.
And I don't know, whether that's because of, losing 2 episodes and COVID and whatnot, but yeah, it wasn't that.
It wasn't
I want to use COVID as an excuse, but no, it was just bad writing.
There could have been more Hellblazer in it, is all I'm saying. There could have been more Constantine.
Well, especially they covered one of his biggest comic book story arcs when he gets lung cancer, which is his huge story arc where he's completely brilliant and manipulates everybody in the DC universe to get what he wants. But in here it's played as 1 episode thing, and it's not nearly as clever. Where it's you have the character and you have access, you should have just used that for a season of this show.
It's a missed opportunity, especially because they have him and they've been able to keep him after his own show didn't do so well. It's
because NBC didn't know how to use it.
But CW
CW and Warner Brothers doesn't seem to know either, so.
Which is super sad because I'm into this. I want this. I want more of that.
Yeah, I don't have high hopes for the Constantine TV show. It doesn't sound good. I mean, because DC's been under fire because of their lack of diversity. And they've been out for years. I mean, for the longest time, their only character was Black Lightning. So when they announced the Constantine show, they didn't say, we have a new take of Constantine. They said, we're making a black Constantine. That's how their press release was. Which I don't mind changing the race of a character. If you find a black actor or another color actor who fits the character and works, then that's great. But when you're only going into the show marketing it as, we haven't found the actor yet, but we're only doing this and we're changing him just because of criticism, make new multiracial characters.
Yeah, it's look at us, we're woke. Well,
yeah.
No, you're not.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You're actually, just by that very, you're quite the opposite.
Yeah, you're doing a disservice by saying, we're going to make a strong black character by just turning one of our white characters black. That's an insult.
The super sad...
Stop being corporate dum-dums, seriously.
The
don't know
super
if
sad irony of this is that on the original Constantine show, Harold Perrineau played the archangel that he was up against, and he was awesome, and it was just getting good before they canceled it.
So, like, I don't have high hopes for it. I mean, it doesn't sound like they're being creative. It seems like they're literally just, like, throwing darts at a board just to, like, get back at criticisms for the DC universe. So I don't think they're going about it in a creative way, especially when you already have a perfect Constantine. Matt Ryan is just so on point, and, like, he loves the character. He's been voicing him in the animated movies and the TV shows. It just frustrates me.
It's kind of like, it's just, that's the thing. It's like, you know, they think that it's clever to make, you know, all of these long-loved male characters female. And, like, listen, I'm all about strong female characters. But they already exist. Just use the ones that already exist. Otherwise, it's gimmicky. I'm sorry. Anyways.
They're missing the point entirely by doing what they do.
Yes. Thanks for coming to our TED Talk.
What questions, if any, do you have going forward to Legends of Tomorrow Season 6? Do you have any predictions whatsoever?
Why aliens?
Why aliens?
Yeah, when Sarah gets abducted at the end and it's supposedly aliens, why?
Yeah, she went off for an anal probe.
I'm not sure that's what happened, but okay.
It was so abrupt. I mean, they gave you really, the only cliffhanger is, oh, look, Sarah just got abducted, and nobody noticed.
But again, it's retconning because they got cut due to COVID. They weren't finished filming the season yet, so they quick pieced it together, just like Flash had to do with their season.
Yeah,
finish.
it was so terribly done in this particular show.
Yeah, I'm not really invested normally in the overarching things, so I really just watch it for the funness. So I have no predictions. It's going to be what it's going to be, and hopefully it doesn't get cheesier. That's where I'm at.
I mean, I wouldn't mind them going into, like, Universal of the DC universe and introducing some of the aliens from the comics and the other races from the comics that they haven't done. Because even the aliens they've used, like, in the first crossovers and that, they're generic aliens they created for the show that... So, like, if they actually delve into the comic books and for, like, villain races and stuff like that, it'd be awesome. But, yeah, like, it'll probably be gimmicky.
That's very hopeful of you. I just don't see it going that way.
I don't see how aliens can be fun when this is supposed to be a time-traveling ship, and that's what we've been doing this whole time.
Bazinga.
Yeah, unless it's something from the future and it's going to be this fake out. That's the only thing.
If they spend time in a weird and wacky future, I wouldn't mind that as long as they do it all well. I mean, they have...
Maybe it's Arthur Darvill is coming back and he's kidnapped Sarah.
I don't think he's coming back. I think Arthur Darvill pieced out on this show in a big way.
I mean, he was getting pretty burned out on acting in general, so I wouldn't be surprised if he just kind of disappeared.
Nerds were wearing him out.
Yeah, he's now a bricklayer in Clacton.
Is he really, or did you just make that up?
I just completely made that up.
He actually talked to him on the phone yesterday.
Well, he just delivered it so seriously, and I was like, maybe
I mean, it's because he's our token limey, and that's what they do.
That's the label on the Zoom screen at this time.
Clarification.
I mean, I am hopeful that they lock down the character problems. We already got rid of Mona, which is a huge step. She was just so grating. So
also watch Never Have I Ever. It's really funny. Thanks. You're welcome, Netflix.
Watch her on Never Have I Ever. You'll like her so much more.
That show is hilarious.
We lose a Mona, but we get Gary as a season regular.
6 dozen of one and half dozen of the other.
Yeah,
well, at least it's
I'd
not
rather
both.
take a laxative.
That's true. Both was worse. And they were like...
Just
tearing them up.
You said something about laxative.
Yes, I said I'd rather take a laxative than get more Gary.
Well, you're going to have to figure out your X-Lax situation. Because you are getting more
yeah,
Gary.
be careful what you eat that day, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
The facts are these. There will be more Gary.
that's very unfortunate.
I'm sorry. I hate to be the bearer of Gary news, but he's a regular. That was in the research. Yeah, he's not. It's an overplayed joke at this point.
Yep.
Even Constantine seems like Gary. It was funny when he just thought he was like a plaything that he could, bat around for a little while. But even the cat is bored of that mouse, so
Yeah.
that's no fun. No other predictions? I mean, Hillary's made her points. Do you all agree with her points?
Yeah, I think so. For me, I just think season 6 is going to be a drag. A lot because Gary is a regular.
That's the prediction. Season 6 will be a drag. # Gary.
They'll probably introduce a new character that we haven't heard about yet as a replacement for the people that we've lost, in addition to making Gary a series regular.
It seems like we lost Charlie, Mona. We're potentially losing Mick.
Mm-hmm.
We've lost the Adam and Nora. I mean, who knows whether the thing with Katie may actually not be a cliffhanger. Maybe she's gone for a while.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back to the character investment thing. That's just, like, going to be impossible, I think, for me at this juncture, so...
There's too many changes on this show for my taste generally.
Boo, change.
But don't worry, guys, there's hope. They might bring back Kid Flash for you.
Is that real?
No, I'm going to go...
Oh my god, he totally did the British thing again and used it.
It's possible the guy came back on the Flash. Maybe he does want
This
to
is just like the burrito emoji.
I didn't understand that was a burrito. In my defense, I did not see that.
Like, have you never been to Qdoba?
Yes, but the burritos don't look like that emoji. So...
Yes, you.
No,
Anyways, yeah, I'm a little bit leery about future Legends.
I predict that the next time we get together to talk about Legends, it will not be as cheerful as this one hasn't been.
That would be really sad, because this one was like the last possible cheerful one.
Yeah.
Because the rest of these have been in a wide range of, I absolutely hate it and hate you for making me watch it, to...
That's why we need to do the DC or the Marvel Disney Plus shows.
It's in the it's on the list. It's got to bubble its way up, but we will do them.
I feel like at this point, the DCTU shows, our podcasts, are starting to become more like a eulogy for somebody we didn't really care about that much.
And then we have to keep coming back and give the same eulogy like 4 times.
Oh my god, yes. Can you make that like? Can you make that? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna make that my description when I share the podcast.
The DCT eulogy.
There, Nick. He didn't say a lot tonight, ladies and gentlemen, but that was gold.
We might want to write that eulogy, because I just found a little log line for what's happening next season.
All right. Lay it on us. We don't care.
The key, as the kids are saying these days.
Yeah, it's from Entertainment Weekly, so it's legit. So, it's confirmed that, yes, Sarah was abducted by aliens. In Season 6, the gang recruits tough alien conspiracy theorist Esperanza, quote, Spooner Cruz, who is played by Chicago PD's Lizeth Chavez, to help them find Sarah and hunt down extraterrestrials who have been displaced throughout history.
So
another non-comic book character being added to the main cast when they could add a comic book character.
Yeah, Phil, one of the co-showrunners, says that they want each alien to provide a novel genre for each episode. They have one where they meet a new legend who is the alien conspiracy theorist mentioned above. Then there's another episode that's kind of a 50s Burger Wars, sort of like an American Graffiti element. And yeah, we want the variety of aliens to provide the variety of genres that we can inhabit, because that's when I believe the show is at its best.
So I actually don't disagree with that idea. That concept isn't as bad as you first led to. The idea of different genres actually is appealing.
Right.
And they said that they wanted to have that B-movie creature feature element as well. And
Kyle's going to get mad.
Yep.
I mean, in a lot of ways, like, that's when the show shines. Like that previous season episode where they're at the summer camp.
Depending on how they address it.
Where they're at the summer camp and Constantine's a counselor and then Sarah Lance and them turn into kids. Like, that was a really fun episode. Like, that was like the horror homage done right, but then they tried to do it a second time and did it wrong. So if they can actually do it like they did the first time and keep up these fun themes every episode, I'll still love this show. It feels like the writing is getting lazy, so...
Yeah, it's recycling the caper through time, have to find things through time motif, which is part of what it does, but I agree that the genre stuff is where it's strongest. I think he's right about that,
Yes.
But at the same time, the characters have to be as strong as the capers, or nobody cares
and
about
that's where they're falling short now.
Yeah, and they said, too, Sarah is missing, so we may not see her, or she just may have scenes completely separate from the cast.
She'll probably show up at the end of the season, as the finale, rescuing her or something.
But it just says, Sarah is one of the grounding influences of the show, and everyone is going a little bonkers in her absence. So we really looked at it in terms of what would the Wave Rider crew do without Sarah around when she's missing.
It's literally like the same thing when it was Arthur Darvill.
And he went missing at the start of the second season. Yeah.
Oh my god!
Rehash, guys. It's going to be great.
It's not great. I'm not happy. I revised my statement. I'm really not wanting to be watching it now.
I feel like it has a feeling of an EP just watched WandaVision and was like, oh, they did a different decade every episode, let's do a different genre.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
What? You mean they're copying the... okay.
Right?
Oh, that's successful. Let's do that. Yeah, great.
Just stop doing that. You don't have to do that. You have your own universe. That's why they both have existed together as long as they have. Stop doing that. Oh my god.
And on that note...
What note is that? C flat?
Yeah, something.
Sorry, I just don't understand. I don't get it.
It's fine. You had passion. It's fine. We talked about a lot. We anticipated many of the questions because they were probably the questions and things we all had to say. So I'm going to start with, because this is our final review of the year, even though this year has been over a year in its development, #COVID. Rank the shows! Remember, Arrow's gone, Black Lightning's in, Batwoman's in, Superman is not.
Batwoman season 1 only?
Yes. I think that's fair because I've been reading some of the spoilers on Batwoman, and that looks like that's gone some pretty bonkers directions, so I'm kind of mildly fascinated in a morbid way.
Interesting. Yeah. It's interesting. I'm watching it in real time with all the CW shows.
They just recast Kate Kane.
I saw that. I had to read up on how that happened in the
No,
story.
I'm behind, so I've missed that. I didn't know that was coming.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but I think that's the way that the storyline is going. That's a good move.
Cool.
Interesting.
I can try to rank them. Let's see here.
Thanks,
That's
Nick.
what you asked, right?
That is the question.
He didn't, actually.
I did so!
I'm just kidding.
So you'll have to remind me if I forget a show.
Okay.
But I think it's Legends is my number 1. Flash is 2. Oh, man.
Supergirl.
What I have Supergirl, Batwoman, and Black Lightning.
That's it.
Well, let's put that as a tie for bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Tie for last.
Yeah, so I'll just bounce off that because I would just put the Flash and Legends at the top for completely opposite spectrum reasons, and the other 3 at the bottom equally for reasons.
Yeah,
I will go. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Legends of Tomorrow, Flash, and then I really dislike the other 3 shows. I guess if I had to, it'd be Batwoman, Supergirl, Black Lightning.
Really? I would still put... Oh, God.
I mean, I hate them all pretty equally. I don't enjoy them anymore.
I'm going to kind of follow suit. Legends would be number 1. Flash is number 2 because it's starting to get tired, which is sad to say. And then I would probably put Supergirl at a distant 3. There's a big gap. Then Batwoman season 1, and then Black Lightning. Just because.
And I would go Black Lightning at the bottom, Supergirl,
I was like, what?
Batwoman, Flash, then Legends, and then Lois and Superman. I don't care whether it's included or not. It's still the best they've got right now.
He's always got to do stuff.
If we're doing that, the number 1 is Smallville.
Okay, they have to still be on.
Okay, the number 1's WandaVision.
Yes!
No! The anarchy! Now we're just outside!
It's the truth!
Oh, and they kind of need to say actually, it's Daredevil.
Right, this is just anarchy!
I would find slightly. It's Black Lightning, the COVID virus, Supergirl. Yeah.
The wheels are falling off.
I'm not actually changed from where I was the last time we ranked. I have the Flash above Legends because I have strong feelings about the cast departures. To me, that's not as fun as the fun caper shenanigans. And I still like the Flash. Maybe I'll change my mind next season, but I still like the cast and the Flash a lot. I'm going to put Supergirl at number 3 because it's the universe and she's cool and Lex is cool.
Lex.
That's about it.
Lex is the redeeming character in that. Without Lex, that would be probably my least favorite show.
Yeah. Then I have Black Lightning because I like the music. And then I have Batwoman because the first season was so appalling. But maybe it'll get better. I don't know. It's possible.
It has to.
Well, yeah. I mean, it could get worse.
It has a little bit. It's getting there. We'll see.
Okay.
Still better than season 1.
I have to believe that the new actress in the role, or in the cape, and then the new actress playing the first identity might actually...
The third version of Kate.
Yeah, might actually give some improvement to the show, but...
That will be very interesting to see how they make that transition between actresses playing the same character.
There's a reason. It's if you look up a news article, recasting Kate Kane, it'll explain why. I haven't watched the most recent episode where they actually reveal this new actress, but there's a reason. It's a simple reason, but there's a reason.
I've read it. There is a reason. That is organic to the story, I believe.
It is. Yep.
I mean, how organic can a character face completely changing be? I'm just saying, they always come up with these weird reasons why they had complete reconstructive surgery, and it just is always terrible.
Look at Harvey Dent.
Yeah. This is a simple reason, and things happen to people's faces a lot in Gotham City.
But they can't fix Harvey's face or the Joker's.
Well,
they completely rebuild Batwoman.
This is clearly in a future that Batman has gone and they're not around, so maybe they've learned how to do it, Kyle. I don't know. I said this was my least favorite.
It's stupid.
You used the word organically, and I'm just saying there's no organic way where it's gonna...
Somewhat organically, maybe, because I haven't watched it.
Well, okay, so I just, again, if you Google Kate Kane, which I just did.
But she was going to say organically.
No, I Googled it. And if you scroll down, it says there's a little played by section. There's a picture of Ruby Rose, and there's a picture of Wallace Day, who has taken over the character. And the picture that they've selected for Wallace Day looks remarkably like Ruby Rose. So, yes, it's a recast. Yes, there'll be an explanation as to why her face and voice and whatever has changed. But they do look very similar.
Yeah, I've just read the article while you've all been talking, and essentially...
Spoiler.
She was in an accident that disfigured her face and forced her to get surgery, or shock her.
Yeah.
I mean, I just wouldn't even mention the face change. I would just be like, oh, she grew her hair out or something. Like, you don't need to mention it. It's like when they changed War Machine in Marvel, like, you didn't need an explanation. You just go with it better.
Right.
Yeah.
And everyone was happier with Don Cheadle anyway.
Yeah,
so
Don Cheadle's legit.
We love him.
So, yeah, it really didn't matter.
Especially, like, I haven't seen what the new actress looks like, but if you're saying she looks like Ruby Rose...
Similar.
Then just why even, like, just drawing attention to that it's a different actor is a disservice to the story.
I mean, no spoiler, in the opening moments of season 2, you see the plane crash that Kate Kane was on. So she is in a fiery plane crash, you see the wreckage, it's completely decimated.
I know this isn't the Batwoman podcast, but if you were going to bring Kate Kane back, why isn't Kate Kane still back? Whatever, I don't care.
I don't know. Just roll with it. Just watch season 2.
Because the other girl found a suit and she can't afford to make a new one.
Because they had to adjust. Because the Ruby Rose announcement was after the season finale of season 1.
And they have also announced that Batwoman has been renewed for season 3.
They have. All of the shows but for Supergirl have been renewed.
Supergirl's officially ending this year, right?
Supergirl is officially ending this year.
Thank God.
And Black Lightning. Black Lightning too. So those 2 are ending. Superman and Lois, Batwoman, Legends, Flash. Those are the 4 that have been renewed.
And we're still fingers crossed Painkiller doesn't get picked up.
Yes, I mean...
His backdoor pilot is coming up here real shortly. for Black Lightning.
Either way, Cress Williams deserves better than Black Lightning.
The music's good. I just want to say that.
But here's the really cool thing about things is you can listen to music without having to watch a bad show.
It's true.
I'm just using it
There's
as
a couple of
measurement.
streaming services. I think one's called Pandora, and then there's one called Spotify. Do that.
Kylie does not know what to say.
Anyways, I stand by my position. Are you going to keep watching? Wait for it because you have to, or because you want to?
I still want to.
Yeah, I mean, I still want to watch Matt Ryan as John Constantine for as long as we have him. And as long as he's on screen, like, the show works. He's just so fun as that character.
I'm teetering towards have to.
I'm both.
I'd agree with
I
that.
wanna watch
I still want to, but there is an element of me that fears where they're going.
Yep, exactly.
Nick, what did you say?
I said I want to.
I still want to, but I agree with the fear. I feel the fear. I think that's true. Legitimate. Would you recommend Legends of Tomorrow, because this isn't the penultimate, would you recommend Legends of Tomorrow to others? Why or why not at this juncture?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's kind of questionable. It's only gonna, I don't know.
I feel like if I recommended it to somebody and they watched that first season, they'd think I was insane. No matter how much you say, oh, the first season's terrible, but just keep plowing through.
Yeah, I hope it's season 3. Yeah, it's a hard one to recommend.
Yeah, I'm not at the point. If you're not already watching it, I don't see how you could get into it. It's even kind of an off-brand superhero show, just by the nature of what it is. So even if you told me you were comic book obsessed, you'd have to be pretty comic book obsessed, more than me. I'd be like, and more than you.
I feel like because you're comic book obsessed, you should be like, this is kind of getting goofy.
Yeah, you want to watch a bunch of
most comic
superheroes
book
either.
fans don't even watch this show because
Correct.
it doesn't use
actual comic book
characters beyond John Constantine.
It's just
even White Canary isn't a character in the comics.
It's just a veil. It's just a thinly veiled label at this point. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't have the investment.
Well, that's why I started with I don't think I would recommend it. I'm struggling to say who I would recommend it to who isn't already watching it. I think at this point, 5 seasons in, if you're in it, maybe stick with it. But if you're not, it really comes down to how connected you are to the quote-unquote CW verse. That's really why we started watching Legends. I don't think that we would have stuck with Legends after the first season if it didn't have the connection. So at this point, it's not recommendable on my end.
Yeah. I was like, you had to get in this show organically, because originally, when they were weaving these characters in and out of the Flash,
That's
and
the
air, it worked better. Yeah. So you had to get there. It was earned. And then you stick with these characters because you kind of fell in love with them from when they were introduced. But if you don't have that, I wouldn't recommend, you have to watch every season of The Flash to get here to enjoy Legends of Tomorrow. You can't. It's unreasonable.
Well, especially since none of those characters, again, but for who knows how long we have Mick Rory left, and Sarah Lance. And Sarah Lance was an Arrow character, so those are the last 2 that started on those other shows. Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes it works out. I mean, a lot of people still like things like Grey's Anatomy, and that doesn't have any of the. So I don't know. I'm not one of the people that like Grey's Anatomy, but other people do.
The difference is, though, the main character of Meredith Grey is still there. The show would not survive without her.
It's named after her.
And if we lose Sarah, I think the show is going to be done, since she's the de facto last remaining original.
And it's I don't want to count it out, though, because I really hated that first season. I was ready to put this show as the last on my list of the DC shows.
We were quite
and they actually did such a complete turnaround that it became my favorite. So I keep every season of Legends, I hope that it'll still earn being my favorite.
That's hopeful and optimistic, Kyle.
Quick, and
let's end on a hopeful and optimistic note. Shut up, Nick.
You got it out before he got his.
And I wasn't even going to ruin it. I was going to say let's end on a positive note.
Oh, that just...
Nick was on fire tonight with his 8 words that he said.
Oh, no.
Oh, triggered.
Oh, man. At least it's not me.
Challenge.
Activated.
You want me to say more?
Challenge! The challenge! You extended a challenge and it's been accepted.
It's all right. It wouldn't.
I like Mona. No, I'm just kidding.
I can't even say that with a straight face.
No, and if he meant that, we'd probably have to just tell Kyle to go around and set his house on fire.
Well, what did Sarah do?
Yeah. Or Jack and Eli.
We call Sarah and the kids and tell them to get out.
Okay, that's kind of you.
Get out, I'm causing a Legends of Tomorrow related fire.
Yeah, exactly. Before he's on his way over.
She's gonna be like, what is happening?
What is happening now?
Should have ended it.
Should have ended it, I agree.
I think this officially means... I think this means Spencer ruined it.
We are Legends of Tomorrow.
Yes! It is a very similar progression at this point. So at this point, is there anything else you'd like to say that you haven't said somehow about Legends of Tomorrow Season 5 or what's upcoming in Season 6?
No.
Just making sure. Well, since they've said all they're going to say and have gotten out some spiciness to boot, what I'd like to do is thank Hillary, Kyle, Nick, Kristen, and Spencer for joining me once again to journey on this DCTU journey. And because we've done that, and it's been so legendary, it's time to roll the credits. Couch Potatoes Unite! Was produced by Back Pocket Productions, run by yours truly, the Chief Couch Potato, which is really another way of saying executively produced by me, Kylie Piette. My associate producers are Krista Pennington and Selene Rezmer. I edit this podcast, and our logo is by Rebecca Wallace. Our marketing graphic artist is Krista. Our theme song was written by Sarah Milbratz and sung by Sarah, Amy McDaniel, and Kels Rezmer. Kels played the keyboard, Ian McDonough played the bass, Christian Somerville played the guitar, and the whole shebang was engineered by Kyle Aspinall and Christian. We hail from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Please, if you like what you hear, take the time to rate us, give us stars, provide comments, or review us wherever you get your podcasts. Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, CastBox, and Amazon are just a few of the places you can find us, but we're also on YouTube. We have our website, and we're now on Patreon at patreon.com/CouchPotatoesUnite. If you really love us, pledge your support by becoming one of our United Couch Potatoes as we grow our little sofa-populated corner of the world. Otherwise, feel free to tell us how we're doing, what we should add, subtract, keep, or toss. You know how it goes. And if you have suggestions for shows we might consider, contact us at our website where we have a guest book, by email at couchpotatoesunitepodcast@gmail.com, our Facebook, our Twitter at CPU Podcast, our Instagram at Couch Potatoes Unite, our Patreon, or wherever you get your podcasts. Though, of course, we add new and old shows to chat about around the water cooler all the time, and always have new episodes coming down the pipe. Just listen to our intros. If you miss old episodes or want to know in general what shows we cover, just search for us. Find us wherever you do searchable things on the internet. Don't forget that exclamation point, or contact us via our website, our email, our social media accounts, and our Patreon to stay up on all the new events and episodes by our humble little podcast, Couch Potatoes Unite! Exclamation point. Until the next time, DC's Legends of Tomorrow is available in its entirety on Netflix because there's a contract for them to finish out for reasons we're not going to discuss here, because we've kind of already been doing it. In the meantime, DC's Legends of Tomorrow Season 6 is due to premiere on May 2nd, 2021, due to production delays caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. In addition, our DCTU panel will next reconvene later this year to begin anew our cycle of Arrowverse, or CWverse, or DCT Universe, or whatever, recaps and reviews, given that we finally finished the ones relevant to the last season. So that's cool. So until next time, until next episode, new episodes are published every Wednesday. Keep listening, keep watching, stay tuned.
Goodbye.
Bye.